not a YouTuber, just like making videos. This is going to be a response to Hollow Point's video. I want to thank him for being a good sport. Now I had to upload, this is going to be a long video, so I had to upload this video because, you know, both my channels, my main channels I would say, was got strikes against them, so my videos can only be 15 minutes long, and I didn't feel like uploading multiple parts. And that would be too time consuming, and a lot of people just think they're not going to sit there and watch. They'll probably watch one but not watch part 2 and part 3. So I'm estimating this video is going to be about 30 minutes long. And so I forgot that I had this channel. You know, now if you observe this channel, this channel here, the other videos, you're going to see a lot of anti-Tommy Sotomayor videos from, I haven't uploaded a video on this channel in a year. You know, so I kind of forgot, but then I was, you know, going through YouTube like, oh yeah, I did forget. I got 3 channels, but this channel is in good standing. So yeah, this is going to be a, you know, I mean, it's going to kind of be a long ride on this one. But let's go. Now you see this sweater I'm wearing. This sweater here is sort of accurate or close to copper. Copper in its rawest form. You know what I'm saying? Copper that's not condensed to a penny. Now, I admit this is not the shiniest penny, but if I put it up against this sweater, you know, it doesn't exactly blend in. It's kind of close. But if I can show you a picture of raw copper, and if you look at this sweater, yeah, I'm like, that's similar. Copper has kind of like a red, orangish tinge to it, a shine to it. Pennies tarnish easily. Now I can understand if you have like a bright, brand new, shiny penny that is kind of a reddish, you know what I'm saying, tinge, but this a sweater is very is somewhat accurate to copper's natural color, and so forth. So, you know, as Hollow Point said, if the forefathers came here and they saw that people whose skin color is copper, they could be talking about the Mongoloid Native Americans. I'm like, that's, you know what I mean? I'm like, you can take what you want out of that. And then when people, if they did say that we found people the color of copper, that, you know, the people's skin tone isn't going to be exactly the color of copper. Just like when they called black people black. You know, our skin color wasn't exactly black. You know, they're just, I like using that as a point of reference. Like they say that they call themselves white because they're pure like snow. Now, you know, the white man is not pure like snow, so, you know, and the thing is, in Hollow Point's dissertation, it's like, you know, I understand that people are going to believe what they want to believe. People are going to gravitate to information that helps justify their beliefs, and then they're simply going to push away or negate information that is contrary. And that's what Hollow Point's whole video was about. It was just like him trying to grab information that, okay, I can do this, I got this information here, even though there's an overabundance of evidence, you know what I'm saying, that proves my point. You know, I would like to believe that, you know what I'm saying, maybe black people is here doing our thing, you know what I'm saying, our build has built some sort of strong civilization, but it's just inconclusive. And especially, I mean, I've stated it before that, now I'm part Native American, you know what I'm saying, Amerindian or whatever you want to call it. You know, I've seen my Native American aunt one time, you know what I'm saying, long flowing hair. She was a big woman, and plus, you know what I'm saying, my nose and the fact that, I scarcely grow facial hair. You know what I'm saying? That's trait similar to Native Americans, and plus I got a reddish tinge in my skin. But you know, the whole copper thing is like you know, going by Hollow Point, that you have to say that he was the standard quo of black people's skin complexion, you know, because he compared Penny to his, you know what I'm saying, to his tone. But you know, we can find plenty of Africans with his same tone, you know, and so forth. Specifically, the Himda tribe, if you know who they are, you know, they definitely got a sort of a copper thing going. If you know anything about the Himda tribe, yeah, it's almost like him using that could easily work against his arguments, and so forth. Now, one thing he kept bringing up about, you know, where are the slave ships? Where are the slave ships? Like a lot of stuff back then, you know what I mean, it just turned to junk, and junk becomes savage. It's not like when they had the slave ships, they're going to think, oh, we got to preserve these, they're going to be valuable one day. No, they just, you know, probably destroyed them, salvaged them, you know what I'm saying, or modified them, turned them into something else. I'm like, what happened to all the boats and ships then? I mean, we know the Europeans, that was their only means of travel, you know what I mean, from one landmass to another one. You know, airplanes wasn't invented yet. So what happened to all those boats? What happened to all those pirate boats? I'm pretty sure pieces of them are preserved in some sort of museum, but during the Pirates of the Caribbean, those high seas, did they preserve all those boats? No, you know, I'm like, a slave boat back then, you gotta figure it was filled with feces and urine and rats running around. Why would they, you know? It was best if they tried to destroy it or use the wood for something else, just like a lot of things. Just like a lot of guns and whatever can survive during the times, yeah, eventually it will become valuable. That's a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? We, to this day, we destroy and we junk a lot of things that could be valuable. You know, so that right there is just, I'm like, that was pretty frail, you know, argument to say where the slave boats, as if they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, as they're gonna be like you can go and all the boats ever was preserved. I can see it, every single boat was preserved. They preserved all these boats, and somehow, you know, the slave boats are missing. But okay, now, as far as blacks being here in this country, and he said for thousands and thousands of years, I'm like, no. Now, as far as the Mongoloid Native Americans, they've only been here 15,000 years before the white man came, building their civilization. Now, there could be all kind of people. Now, when you go into skeleton, like he says, there's a skeleton of a black woman. You know, the thing is, white people are trying to come up with this this Clevis or this Clovis tribe, and they're saying white people has been here before anybody due to a spear tip that was that was used by a certain tribe of people that originated in France. You know what I'm saying, in the year, I don't know, 500 BC. I don't know. So you know what I'm saying, when you have like, okay, we have this bone that was found here, I'm like, anything could have happened. But I'm talking about hardcore, indisputable evidence of a civilization, of a predominant and prosperous civilization. And blacks don't have it here in America. You know, I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, the whole of the Western Hemisphere. Like, if you look at the tribes in New Guinea, yeah, they favor, you know what I'm saying, Africans. Are the Dunlap tribe in the South Pacific that we can consider to be and look black. But as far as here in America, as I've said before, if there was some sort of tribe, either they moved on, you know, or was completely wiped out. And the core, the nucleus of my argument was that the predominantly of the black people you see walking around in the hood that is confused comes from Africa. Now, let's go into the African thing. You know what I'm saying? Well, the word Africa comes from, you know, some Greek dude, Africanus. That's inconclusive. You know, I just referred it to Africa just as a point of reference so people can see what so they can just easily relate. You know, some people have called it Nubia, they called it Kemet, but I'm talking about that landmass there, the cradle of civilization. It's just like Tasmania is named after some general, some white man. You know, the Tasmanian people was completely obliterated. And that's the thing is, you know, so the white man went around, he named it a whole lot of stuff. Now, he named America. Now, some people may say, well, America comes from some other name. But they say that America, as I said, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to this subject matter, it's pretty much about what information you want to believe. If your mind is set to black people was already here first and blase, then it's going to be hard for me to persuade you. I can only look at the evidence forward and make my synopsis, you know what I mean, just of data, scientific data, ruins, you know what I'm saying, and historical accuracy. But the, you know, Tasmanian people was named after, you know what I'm saying, some white guy. A lot of people were. Now when we're dealing with the white man, you know, let's say the black people was already here and the white man tricked us into believing we're from Africa, you know, Nubia, and we're really not. I'm like, why would the white man do this? I'm like, take the Aboriginals in Australia. Why couldn't the white man just tell the Aboriginal, hey, we were really here first. You guys were slaves we brought over from some other land. No, he'll say that, yeah, they were here first, but they don't care. They were the first to accomplish something. They were the first to establish something. And that's the thing, even with the Native Americans, they'll admit that, yeah, they were here first, but it doesn't stop the white man. You know, if the white man's going to do what he's going to do, he's going to take your land, he's going to cook his feet up, he's going to shoot off his gun, and he's going to eat his barbecue. That's what he does. He doesn't care if he was here first. So therefore, you know what I'm saying, the white man lying to us and say, hey, you're really from Africa, that's sort of null and void. Because he'll admit, he said, yeah, you guys were here first, but you didn't accomplish anything. It's we're here now, we're doing the most with this land. You see what I mean? And then going into the Native Americans, I find it funny, not one historical or famous Native American was a Congoid. And I refer to, you know what I'm saying, people by their, that's kind of like the scientific name for our skeletons. You know, and unless you want to say, oh, the white man lied about that. I'm like, first of all, we understand the white man is human. You know, I can understand that he's omnipotent. But I'm like, he's still a human that came from the cradle of civilization. And when you look at the great Native American warriors that had an impact, Massasoit, Pontiac, Geronimo Pratt, Tecumseh, I may be pronouncing that wrong, King Philip, and numerous others. You know what I mean? The ones that really made the history books, the tribes, you know, that still exists today, the Lakota, the Cherokee, the Navajo, all Mongoloids. You know, unless white man completely destroyed that history. But you know what I'm saying, the thing is, people know what's right. And the black people that was here on this body of land, they just didn't build a strong enough civilization that can withstand the wrath of the Europeans. You know, and I don't think the white man is as devious or powerful enough to completely obliterate us to the point where we didn't know who we are. We don't know who we are because we came off that slave boat. You know, all evidence points towards that. And let's say what Hollow Point says, that, you know, we were here 2,000 years. Yes, there was probably some people, but yes, let's say black people was here. You know, we was doing our thing. You know, black people were very fertile. We loved to multiply. You know, and if we were here thousands of years, our population, our numbers would be up. You know, it would have been hard for the white man to come here and really do his damage. You know, you see what I mean? Just due to our numbers and how we multiply and so forth. I would say that there was black people here, but just didn't have much of an interest here and moved on. You know what I'm saying? Or created something that just didn't last long. A lot of this landmass is cold, you know, especially in modern day New York, modern day Maine, places like Colorado. It gets frigid during certain times of the seasons. You know, and we're not adjusted to the cold. You know what I'm saying? We get ashy, we get sickle cell and whatnot. And the Mongols, the Native Americans, grow long hair. You know, long hair that covers the back of their necks. Just like a lot of the Mongoloids over in Asia, in those colder regions of Asia. You know what I'm saying? In Tibet, you know, in northern China, you know, and so forth. And then when you look at black people, you say, oh, because of the copper skin tone, because I'm like, no. I'm like, look at our similarities with Africans or the Nubians or the rest of the Congoids. You can't ignore the kinky hair. Yeah, I know, the big fat asses. You know, I'm like, there's teeth. You know what I'm saying? Africans are known for having good teeth, even when they don't brush their teeth and so forth. That's why you had Darky's toothpaste, you know, and black men here in America are known for having, you know, excellent teeth, you know what I'm saying, especially coming off the slave boat and not having any cavities and pearly white teeth. The dances, you know what I'm saying, why were slaves have a lot of the dances that mirrored their dances over there in Africa? Voodoo. We know that voodoo is the oldest religion. That a lot of the Africans were, you know what I'm saying, that was their religion of choice. And why was a lot of blacks here? Why, you know what I'm saying? Why was voodoo their religion? They were still practicing voodoo over here. What did the white men do? The white men teach black people voodoo to make us think that we're from Africa, and then condemned us for practicing voodoo and giving us Christianity and so forth. No, that's no, that just doesn't make sense. I'm like, a whole lot simply doesn't add up. And then he talks about so yeah, and then let's go back into the horrors of the slave trade that Hollow Point wants to deny because there's no slave boats. I'm like, no. First of all, I admit the number is exaggerated by, you know what I'm saying, when they say 100 million. That's an exaggerated number. Researchers have narrowed that number down to roughly 20 million. And that's, you know what I'm saying, that's still a large number, especially when there's only like 45 million black people here in America. A lot of them, you know what I'm saying, didn't make it through the slave boat. And we were chosen the third in slavery. You know, first they wanted to use the Mongoloid Native Americans. But they were catatonic, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't this death before dishonor, and they didn't breed in captivity. And that's the thing, if black people had such a stronghold here, that, you know what I'm saying, our mentality was you wouldn't have been able to enslave us, you know what I'm saying? You could have crippled us. You know, I'm like, you could have castrated us, but you're talking about the white men coming here, and us black people already here, erased our culture, lied to us and said we're from a different land, had us pick cotton and had us call him master, and us begging to eat at his table, and us begging him to treat him like an equal citizen. You know what I mean? I'm like, he had us, you know, singing and dancing and shucking and jiving and bugging our eyes out. No, I'm like, the white man, I'm like, we're giving him we're giving him too much power. You know what I mean? The way, if he was that powerful, he would have been able to do the Native American the same thing. And the thing is, blacks here in America, I'm like, we wanted acceptance from the white men so bad. You know what I mean? To the point we threw our own people under the bus. Yes, there were Mongoloid tribes like the Cherokee that fought along the white men. Like the Cherokee fought along President Andrew Jackson up against, you know what I'm saying, other Native Americans. But there was an incentive there. There was an incentive. There was things that they wanted. They were like, okay, we fight along with you, white men. But after this, you know what I'm saying? We want our sovereignty. We want sanctuary. You know, you can't fuck with us. We're gonna do this for you, but we're gonna have our land or whatever, and we don't want to see your wrinkled up old powder wig white faces on our land. But except with black people, we'll fight along the white men, die for the white men, just to be equal to the white men, just to sit and be able to eat at the white man's table. This is madness. This means that we were taken from our original land, and our mind state was completely devastated. The Native Americans never thought of the white man as a superior being. I'm talking about the Mongoloids. They never did. They always looked at the white man as a child, as having the skin of the skin texture of a belly of a toad. When they fought along the white men, they wanted something from them. They didn't fight and say, hey, now we're going to be equal to you and we can eat at the same table. Only the black Americans did that because our minds was warped due to slavery, due to the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. And then you're going into the Middle Passage, which is well documented. But hence, going by Hollow Point's ideology, you simply have to ignore information. You just have to ignore certain information and cling on and clamor to other information. And everything he said could be easily answered. It wasn't like it was hard. I'm like, just the minimum amount of research could have answered his question. Minimum. And then he said, what African nations what African nation would claim us? If there's no Africans that claim us, that Africans don't like us, and so forth. As a Nigerian girl said to me, and she best put it, she said, Africans who have money turn their nose up to even poor Africans. So therefore, in her country, you know what I'm saying, people who got money just look down on people who are poor, are not of their class. You know what I'm saying? Africans turn their nose up to other Africans that are from certain regions or whatever. Here in America, they may have some sort of bond, but I've literally witnessed an Ethiopian talk bad about Somalians. You know, an Ethiopian, he was like, man, fuck the Somalians. I'm not Somalian and this and that, the Somali. You know what I mean? Just talking real grisly about it. One African nation talking grisly about another African nation. And so forth. And the thing is, are Europeans claiming white people? You know, no, not really. You know, they do business with them. You know, but they're not really claiming them like that. I remember one European, I was at a bar, I think he was an Australian, you know. With they're nothing but a transplant from Europe. But he said he was trying to mimic Americans' attitudes and their accent. He was like, where's my gun and where's my barbecue? You know what I'm saying? Kind of mocking American mind frame. You know, a lot of Europeans look at Americans, even, you know, white Americans, black Americans, as stupid and unsophisticated. You know, like American whites love their guns. You know what I'm saying? European whites, they don't particularly care for guns, and they're glad that guns are outlawed in their countries and so forth. Yeah. And then, you know, black people are all mixed up. But there are Ghana. The country of Ghana is claiming black people, and they have a program for black people to come back to Ghana. So it just seems like Hollow Point just didn't really do any research when he made his video. You know what I'm saying? Everything was just sort of basic and by the numbers. But Ghana has a program where if you go back there, that they'll give you X amount of money and give you a place to stay and so forth. They'll welcome you home. They will give you citizenship. Even the actor Isaiah Washington, he went to Senegal and got dual citizenship. You know what I'm saying? Their government welcomed him with open arms, welcomed him as a citizen. Maybe because, you know, Isaiah Washington is a celebrity, I know, but still. So we can't keep acting like, you know what I'm saying, Africa completely rejects us. You know, I have 2 friends that have African baby mothers. You know, so that speaks a lot. I can understand some Africans not liking us, but in my city, you have a lot of African braiding shops owned by African women. You know what I'm saying? And the African women and the black American women are clicking like this. You know what I'm saying? They say, I want to go to the Africans to get my hair braided. And there's a lot of Africans that do live in the hood. You know what I mean? You just got to spot them out. You know, it's just, Africans, just like a lot of black Americans, just, they can't identify with hood culture. And sometimes we let this hood culture speaks for us, you know, in the mainstream media, and that's the thing. And as I was talking to one African, he said it best, that sometimes when Africans watch movies and see the media, that's their outlook and perception of it. It's just like us black people when we look at over there, and then Africans chopping each other up with machetes and cannibalism and Ebola virus and malaria and all these diseases, and 75% of the continent got AIDS. They're cutting women's clitoris off. That's our perception of Africa. So there's a reason why, yeah, a lot of blacks don't want to claim Africa, because they feel that it's not valuable, that it's messed up, it's disorientated, it's in disarray, you know, it's in decadence. And so therefore we want to claim America because it has value. You know, it has value to the white man. The white man is able to build a strong economic powerhouse here, even though this country is trillions of dollars in debt. But you know what I'm saying, if the white man was successful, because the white man wanted Africa, you know, he put his boots on the ground, he did damage, but it didn't you know what I'm saying, it didn't have a long-term effect. Yeah, he went into the Congo and got this rubber, but eventually people fought back too, you know what I'm saying, they were too resilient in the long run. You know what I'm saying? The white man had to take his boots off the ground. Sure, the white man is looming around there like, you know what I'm saying, he's omnipotent. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to sanctions and embargo, yeah, he has a... But as far as the white man just on ground level, no, he has no druthers there. You know what I'm saying? They fought him. And so forth. Okay, but now we're going to go into... the white man. He said, if the white man comes from Africa, can the white man claim Africa? Well, the modern day white man did not come from Africa. When white man was exiled from Africa, left Africa, migrated from Africa, he was at a different form. He could have been in an albino Congoid, you know, and then went up to the Caucasus Mountains, mutated into the Neanderthal, and then became the modern day Caucasian that you see. So the white man who left Africa did not look like Charleston Heston, did not look like Jim Carrey, did not look like Robin Williams. You know, you see what I mean? He had a different skeletal frame. He was sort of a different genotype. And black people have our claim to Africa, Nubia, and so forth, is because we survived there. You know, I'm like, we made it work. We built strong civilizations there and so forth. And I understand that there was all sorts of explorers that left, and I feel that in certain places and built some sort of civilization, and the Olmecs and so forth. The statue head that was recognized. You know what I'm saying, as an African man, but we don't know where these civilizations went to. They either left or went somewhere. But I'm simply going by the blacks you see in the hood that are confused predominantly came off that slave boat. There's no other way of looking at it. If black people was here and had a stronghold, the white man wouldn't have been done it. They would either killed themselves before going into slavery, or, you know what I'm saying, migrated or moved on somewhere else, just like the Mongoloids did. And going back into the Middle Passage, we have stories such as Amistad, you know, and numerous stories of other stories of the black people taking over the slave ship, like the one and turning back and going back to Africa, you know. And then some blacks in the Caribbean, specifically the Haitians. The Haitians, you know what I'm saying, people know that the Haitians come from a certain tribe in Africa. You know what I'm saying? They were more pure. The Haitians were from the Belgies, the Belga. I'm saying it wrong, but it starts with a B tribe in Africa. So they delinquently linked them because there wasn't that much crossbreeding. Here in America, yeah, there's a whole lot of crossbreeding. Matter of fact, when slavery ended, 10% of our population was mulatto. You know, and so forth. And Hollow Point said, well, why didn't they send the slaves back? Well, after 400 years and after all that mixing and black people moving from one plantation to the other plantation, yeah, that was sort of hard. But they did try to establish Liberia. You know what I'm saying? Some American presidents, Monroe, and President Monroe, and some black scholars, and they tried to go back to Liberia. Yeah, it caused some sort of complications. But the white man himself had an incentive to keep black people here because he wanted to keep us here as second-class citizens. So therefore, when slavery was free, you know what I'm saying, they didn't, like the pharaohs, the Egyptian pharaohs, they did not want to let us go anyway because they had, you know what I mean, they could use us as cheap labor, you know what I'm saying, as sharecroppers and so forth in their fields. You know, because I feel that black people wasn't here to, and it made poor white people feel good. You know, to talk down to black people or to feel that they're superior to black people because they themselves were inadequate. They themselves were, you know what I'm saying, didn't measure up to rich white people or middle class white people. You know, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Or just to have, you know, our fun with us. You know, and a lot of black people didn't want to go back because we lost everything. You know what I'm saying? We lost our traditional culture, whatever. You know what I mean? And I would say that the one called L.A. was right. He was right about this. He was like, if slavery ended in 50 years, let's say it came in and only lasted 20 years, that afterwards or whatever, black people would be trying to go back to Africa. They've been fighting to go back to Africa. But being here for 50 for hundreds of years, yeah, you know what I'm saying, that's when you have post-traumatic slave syndrome kicks in, you know, and we lost everything to even want to go back. And the thing is, and then still, if the white man was completely obliterate our culture and our language, I'm like, what was black people eating? You know what I'm saying, before the white man came? Was he eating corn? What about the names? What about our language? And, you know, the human mind has a way of correcting itself. And there's a reason why the so-called ghetto names that black people use sound similar to, first of all, they're a mixture of kind of Eastern European names and African names. You know what I'm saying? When you have that Qualalisha and whatever names, you know what I'm saying, Sharkeisha, it's a mixture between European and African. Somehow that Africa still remains in our subconscious and it comes back. Now, if you look at Mongoloid Native Americans, they have names like Tomahawk and Pontiac and Running Bear and Silver Wind. I mean, we would have been naming our kids those names and so forth. It would have been still in our subconscious that this is who we are. You know what I'm saying? It would have felt right. You know, and so forth. But that's all I want to say. Thanks for watching, and Sally Forth.